Hello. Now I want to talk about next movie that came off the big franchise of Paranormal Activity, Paranormal Activity 2. The prequel, technically, to Paranormal Activity 1. Before I start this video, obviously, spoilers ahead. The film begins in August 2006, 2 months before the events of the first film. The movie opens showing the Ray family bringing home their newborn son, Hunter. The characters of the movie are Dan Ray, his wife Christy, and teenage daughter Allie from Dan's previous marriage, and the newborn son Hunter. Very early in the film, we know that Dan's sister-in-law Katie from the first film and her boyfriend Micah make a brief appearance, and then we know that Katie is related to Christy. Also, we get introduced the best character. That's right, my boy, the dog. Or it's a girl in the movie. My girl, the dog. Oh yeah, and we also get Mariti, I think? Yeah. And also, my favorite character of the movie that needs no introduction, the pool cleaner. I'm going to explain really in detail why this pool cleaner is important. But yeah, my favorite character, the pool cleaner. So now, since we've been introduced to the characters of the movie, let me talk about the basic plot. So first, there's an initial mysterious break-in. The family returns to home to find their house completely ransacked. And then, strangely, only personal items are disturbed with nothing stolen. So basically, the thieves were all just putting, or they were just messing around. Here's a lot of shots about it. This leads to Dan to install security cameras everywhere throughout the house and covering multiple rooms and angles. First scene was the pool's going dim, and Pulley doing Pulley, the pool cleaner contraption is there, but the lights go dim and really nothing happens. Then we got Martine trying to exercise the house, trying to say, hey, there's bad spirits here. We want to keep the good spirits, but the bad spirits, we want them out. And also after Martine does that, we also get a scene of them in the bath scene. In the first movie, there's also had like a somewhat sex scene, but I didn't really talk about it. In this movie, I want to talk about it because that's one of the most funniest jokes I've heard in a while.
I kind of want you to smash me.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
Let me release the Kraken.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. Another scene with a bunch of camera angles, and then we get that's right, Katie. Katie's here. She's helping the baby. Calm down. Katie has a way in for the baby. This will be important later, but yeah, Katie handled the baby because the baby was or Hunter was freaking crying all night. Okay, now, since Katie's here, guess what we get introduced to? That's right, Micah! Micah's there! And they tell you 60 days before the death of Micah, but Micah's here! Let's go! Yeah, Micah, my favorite character. And after Micah left, we get this scene where Christy and Hunter are by themselves, and then Christy's noticing that there's been some strange occurrences happening, i.e. the scene with the carousel. And also we get Hunter, dabbing up the ghost, giving him a little wavy. And also, we get the pool cleaners out again! Let's go! The pool cleaner's out again. They always tell you the pool cleaner's gonna be out. This goes on and on again. Literally, like every day, this pool cleaner has to be out just to tell people this pool cleaner's been out. Okay, so this is the first big occurrence. I think it's night 5. That whenever it's just Martine and the baby, because everyone else was out of the house. Martine heard some rattlings, heard some thumps, and then she heard the baby crying. So she's like, "Oh, I gotta carry the baby, and I gotta." Bless this area, bless this area, bless this area. Apparently, Dan didn't like this too much and started to, be all like, you can't be blessing this area, started wafting it out. This eventually led to Martine leaving the house, and then she tries to warn the family, but nobody listened. Also, not an important scene, we also get, the night vision functionality of the cameras, but they showed it off by literally flashbanging us. Here's the flashbang. 3, 2, 1, there you go, flashbang. But yeah, and then showing us toes. A few nights after, another occurrence happens where a big dump happens in the window, and then we just get, free food gets delivered to us about this bird just, knocking himself out in the window, and then friggin' Dan, being the, hilarious guy he is, decides to make grilling jokes about it. Okay, so now, after this, the pool cleaner still gets out of the thing. The dog figures it out. Abby's the dog's name. Dog, best character. Abby's all like, man, this pool cleaner, there's something rank with it. and keeps playing with it. And we also come back with Micah. Micah's back. Let's go. That's the most important part of that scene. They're just having fun in the pool. They talk about the strange occurrences that are happening might be related to Christy's and Katie's past. Christy, after they cool down a little, they talked about why the pool cleaner always has to be put down, and then tried to do a little investigation into it. And then they figured out, oh wait, the pool cleaner keeps going up the thing. Yay. And then there's a little video of it going up. But the second arc, or the second best character, the pool cleaner, happens where like Dan's all like, oh, I figured out why it's still happening like this. And then boom, gives his daughter and his wife a friggin' jump scare of like the pool cleaner just keeps popping up like this, right? And then that's basically the end of the arc of the pool cleaner. Rest in peace. So the parents go out in a date night, and it's just Allie and Hunter at the house with Abby, the dog. Allie strangely gets woken up. I'd still go back up the stairs. Allie decided, oh wait, there's a thump at the door. She checks it out. There's no one there, and then she literally walks outside to check if why is there no one here, checking if there's a person there. The door gets shut down, and then now we get the freaking funny. We get this scene where the baby is just I found it funny. I know it's supposed to be freaking demented, but the baby's just in suspense, right? Hunter gets out of the crib and then walks down to the basement. The basement had a little 8-minute session with the ghosty ghost, or not ghosty ghost, but the hunt demon. Allie got back in. Dan was mad, and then Allie gets more suspicious of there's actually being ghosts here. They do a little internet research like anybody would do with these demons. They figured out that the demon just wants Hunter because Hunter's the firstborn male in a while since 1930 that is actually born male and not born female, and demon's all like, oh, I want the first male body for me to control, or do his own thing, right? That's why Allie thinks the demon's harassing her family. She went back home. Allie's like, okay, I gotta record this for myself. My dad's not believing me for anything. So Allie wakes up in the middle of the night and then goes records of being all like, oh, something's here, I gotta go check it out. Woohoo, there's a train. The demon's all like, you know how to this is also kind of funny to me. The demon literally just put the train somewhere else. And then, shows it oh, be scared of this train, right? So Allie gives this evidence to Christy. Christy's all like, I don't want to mess around with demons anymore. I had a bad past with them. And then Allie's all like, okay, well, just don't listen to me. And then we have the scene again with Katie and Christy. Katie's all like, don't mess around with demons. The more we focus on it, or it's more if the more we focus on the negative, the more worse it's going to get. And that's what Katie's telling Christy. Very weird, but yeah, that's how the plot progresses. Now, Katie's gone. Christy has the house to herself mostly, and then she's just relaxing, doing stuff. And then we get this big scene of bam, all the pops, or all the drawers opening. Christy goes into a deep dive, and she's like, okay, there's actually ghost here. Calms herself, and then closes all the drawers. Now we're getting more into the end of the movie. The pool cleaner's probably one of the best bits, but whatever. We got Abby, yay, and she's usually sleeps with the baby, and most of the scenes, Abby's not chilling here, and then Abby's like, wait, I feel disturbance down the basement, right? She goes down, check it out. She's like, okay, the demon's out. I gotta go back to Hunter. Or no, Hunter's still sleeping soundly, and then Abby starts barking. Abby's barking to nothing, and then we get this scene where Abby just gets hurt, and then the whole family wakes up because they heard Abby getting hurt, and then they're all like, wait, something's wrong with Abby. Time to bring her to the vet. They all wake up. Abby, Allie, and Dan went to the vet to make sure Abby's okay. Abby's definitely dead here. R.I.P. And then Christy's all by herself. And then apparently we get this scene where the ghost is trying to pull Christy. Christy keeps on running. She keeps fighting. The ghost keeps on pulling Christy back into the basement, back into his lair. Trying to bring that party. So we get this time lapse, and then Christy comes back from the basement looking a lot different, or not looking different, but acting differently. Dan had to go to work the night after. Allie's all like, no, stay here, please. Allie decides to read. She hears thumping from the freaking basement, and she's like, okay, I gotta go check on Hunter. She checks on Christy. Christy disappears, and then he's like, okay, time to go check on Hunter. Maybe we should go somewhere else, right? And then Christy pops out of nowhere, and then you get this bean face. Yeah. Also, the ghost gets a little freaky with Christy. Allie realizes that Christy is not okay, or I guess Christy's possessed, basically, because of the footage last night. But now she tells Dan, hey, Christy's possessed. What do we do? How are we supposed to handle it? So Dan rummages through his contacts, and guess what? Who do you think he literally calls? Does he call a priest? Does he call, a church? No. We get the third best character, Martina. Let's go. We're gonna call the... And then Martina's all like, okay, time to bring in the big guns. Literally a cross is the big guns. This cross is important, okay? But yeah, Martina is like, okay, time to exile this, thing. Okay, so the night of, it's Dan, Martina, and Allie. They're all trying to confront Christy, because Christy is, a little possessed. They're all like, okay, time to, confront her, give her this cross. Christy fights back, and then she literally leaves the room and goes down to the basement with Hunter, because she's all like, okay, the basement's the safe space, right? Dan's all like, okay, I have to go down to the basement and save my daughter, or save my wife and son. Sorry about that. And Dan goes to the basement. A little fight happens, and then he basically puts the power of Jesus into Christy, and then Christy turns out okay. So after Christy turns out okay, everything goes all dilly-dally fine until Katie comes out from the second movie, and then she's 3 months beforehand, right? And she's all like, yeah, we've been having some strange things happening. Cut to this scene. The family thinks it's all no ghosty ghost, or nothing's bad. The demon's not here anymore. And then we get Katie acting obviously, and then just offing off Dan, going upstairs, and then always with the push of the camera, offing off Christy and taking Hunter by herself. And that's the end of Paranormal Activity 2. Paranormal Activity 3, I think, is a prequel. So I don't know why they went backwards twice. The whole movie set up for Paranormal Activity 3 being a prequel, because they're going to talk about Christie's and Katie's past. That's basically the whole movie. This was just as eventful as Paranormal Activity 1. Nothing much really happened. It was... I think this movie was actually worse than Paranormal Activity 1. Like, I really rewatched this one right now, and I'm here thinking, man, this was not a good movie. There were some funny scenes. There were some scenes where I laughed, especially the pool. My favorite character, the pool cleaner. The pool cleaner. There's nothing else than a pool cleaner being, reused again and again just to show that there's a ghost. So yeah, now let me talk about actors. The actors in this film did not really, reuse their names like Katie, Micah. Yeah, they're actually played by different characters. Molly Ephraim plays Allie Ray, Brian Boland as Dan Ray, and Sprague Creighton as Christy Ray. So they're actually played by different, actual characters and actual actors compared to the first movie. The cool thing about this movie was the entire film was just shot in 10 days. And it basically, they're following the formula of the first movie. Shoot it as fast as possible, and then actors were given story outlines, but allowed to create dialogue naturally, so you get a bunch of like this natural you really wouldn't get in a script. Let me talk about the budget. The first one, budget wise, was hella friendly. No surprise, this second one was also budget wise hella friendly. The total budget of the film was $370,000, and the worldwide box office approximately $177 million. One of the most profitable horror films in cinema history, because making that much money out of $378,000 is just crazy. Again, it followed the same formula of the first one. Minimal special effects. So like the special effects, literally none, no special effects that I seen deemed worthy. The only one that I really enjoyed was Christy getting dragged. I'm like, here, like, okay, this is kind of cool. Christy is getting dragged by this invisible force. Now I'm gonna talk about the production pros, since I talked about it like it's only been 10 days. It had an extremely condensed shooting schedule and relied heavily on improvisation. So since it really relied heavily on improvisation, literally kept costs low, because it just let the actors do most of the work rather than letting the script and like any other like special effects have most of the work done, right? And since it's been shot in 10 days, again, minimal rehearsal time, no rehearsals, and since it was mostly improv, they can, they're supposed to react to a supernatural activity rather than act upon it, which is really good for minimal budget films. And then all they had to do was be all like, oh, I'm scared, right? Compared to like having like, 10 takes of saying the same dialogue. So which kept like a minimal production value of like $370,000 and minimal like takes, right? Into like but this minimal thing maximized their profits to like 177 million because people just wanted to watch it, and it just showed that people actually were just going out to watch these movies. This movie, in my opinion, this movie really showed that they just wanted to make Paranormal Activity 3. So they had to, like, in Paranormal Activity 1, you only get one scene with Christy, or like one scene with the sister, right? And they only talked briefly, like very briefly, about like their past hauntings. But other than that, they really did not talk about like their past hauntings or anything specifically talking about like their past in general. But in 2, they really talked about it a lot. Be like, oh, the demon's just chasing your family because somebody made a deal for wealth or like power or some X factor, right? And then we started to get a lot, like some backstory where like, oh, I thought most of the pictures were lost in a fire, right? I think this is just all setting up for Paranormal Activity 3, and they were really expecting Paranormal Activity 2 to have like, have popped off, which it obviously did. That's why we also have Paranormal Activity 3. But it's weird to me, like, setting up these plot points early hand rather than explaining it. Like it doesn't seem like a concise movie. It's just relying on other before media, which is Paranormal Activity 1, and then Paranormal Activity 3 was obviously a prequel, right? Like they go backwards. They go 1, 2, 3, but in chronological order I think it's 3, 2, 1. And then the last one would be 4, which would like what led it all up into. That's where I'm here thinking about Paranormal Activity 3. So now I want to talk about Oren Peli, the original director of Paranormal Activity 1. Apparently, he didn't really want to work on Paranormal Activity 2, and he worked on another movie called Area 51, which is like alien found footage. This one's a different take. I wanted to make a video about it, but Oren Peli basically saw the script and he's like, okay, that looks good. Pass it on to the higher ups. But yeah, that's basically the movie of Paranormal Activity 2. Not much happened. We only got a few characters and just a continuation of like this whole demonic family, or like this sisters having like a bound to this demon. Hopefully they explain it more in 3 and 4. In general, this movie, I'll say, was this score. It wasn't that good. I didn't like. Would I rewatch this movie again? Maybe in like 5 or 4 years, right? I didn't really like the movie as much as I would have thought I would, if that makes sense. And it just grows to show that like plot wise it wasn't really that good. A plot hole of this Hunter always looking at the closet. They didn't really explain the closet as much. I think maybe the ghost was or the demon was hiding in there, right? But nothing else after that. I feel like 10 days was too short for this movie. Maybe if they had like a good script writing, or like, I don't know. I feel like something was missing from the movie. I don't know what was missing, but it did make a lot of money for the studio. Bloom was the original like production of the studio, which eventually got into Blumhouse Productions. How Blumhouse makes really short or really affordable horror movies, making them pop off, and they just give money to whoever has like a really good idea, which is amazing, right? But yeah, that's the end of Paranormal Activity 2. That's like basically my review of it. I don't like it as much. I want to make Paranormal Activity. I probably will make Paranormal Activity 3 just because I want to like know more about the demon family. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Hopefully you have a good day, and